Hi, everybody. We're back. So if you waited, thank you very much because it just took a little bit of time. We've got our technical difficulties all worked out. And yeah, so we're back. And this is a special edition of Tea Time with Andrea and Friends. There's a couple of really special ladies that I've had to get all the way out to my house today to handle all these technical issues to interview them. One is my mother, Dorothy Martin, and the other is my aunt, Diane Dix. And the reason why I have these two ladies on the show today is as I've been going through my journey as a female entrepreneur, it occurred to me that these two women did this, what I'm doing, 30 years ago before any of these supports were available or awareness or fairness or equality or any of this stuff. So I just thought it'd be really cool to have them come on and talk about their perspective on what I'm doing and what their daughters are doing as opposed to what they were doing. And also to have fun because these two ladies, when you get them together in the same room, it's the Diane and the Dorothy show. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And there's a couple of rules that we set up or I set up. One, that it's my show and I get to talk once in a while. And two, that they're not allowed to say any embarrassing stories about me unless I give the go ahead. So that's my mother giggling in the background because she's been warned. Alrighty, so we'll start really quickly with some introductions, and then we'll just go right into wherever this conversation is going to go. We'll just go there. Okay, so thank you for waiting, everybody. I know it was a bit of a juggle there, but we're here. Alrighty, so Mom, I'm going to change the screen here, and then everybody's going to be able to see everybody. Okay, so there you are there. So just wait for everybody, Mom, just so they know who you are. Alrighty. And normally at this stage of the show, I usually ask my guests how they met me. But I think that's probably going to be a pretty easy answer for you. And usually it relates to some kind of a networking event. But anyway, that's fine. Just you can talk about talk about how you met me. That's kind of interesting. So
yes,
just for a little bit.
Okay, I met her on her birthday, January 15th, 17th,
Yeah.
and I had two boys, and I desperately wanted a girl. Had difficult birth, really, really frightened. And when she was born, I cried for like 2 days because I kept touching her to make sure she was there. And I got my girl. That's how I met her.
And then we have Diane. Just wait for everybody, Diane, so they can see you there. There she is. And yes, and Diane, you can tell everybody how you met me.
Well, I met Andrea when my good friend Dorothy moved next door. We became neighbors. And Andrea was pretty small when we met because I think it was more than 40 years ago. It was 1973 when I first saw them.
Yeah,
and they not only became neighbors, they became family, extended family.
Yeah.
And as
I like to say family by choice.
Yeah,
Yes.
family by choice.
Choice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've hung together all of these years. So here we are. That's how I met
here
Andrea.
We are. In my house.
Yes,
taking over every single bedroom that we have upstairs. There's 3 bedrooms and we're all in one.
She used to do that in my house when she come visit. She'd take over every single bedroom as well. So it's just absolutely wonderful to be here.
Okay, so I'm going to leave with Diane just because she's talking right now. And just really briefly, because this is a show about female entrepreneurs, just really quickly, if you can, for a couple of minutes, what kind of entrepreneur experiences have you had in your life?
Well, I think the first entrepreneur spirit that I had was to become a mother, because you know what? You really have to know how to do that.
Yes, you have to keep them alive. That's the number one goal.
There's no handbook. We fail, we learn, and we go on. And our children, like yourself and my daughter, have become even better parents than we were.
Thank you.
But the other thing is that I started, first I started selling makeup, and then I started selling Tupperware. And then I started having my own little business in cleaning houses. Your mother's being the first because she was already out to work.
I remember that.
She was always out to work. And then I stayed home with my children. So I also babysat, which I got to do that with you as well and your brothers. Yes. And after that, when I started to go out in the work field, I started a courier company. The courier company grew to be very successful. I had 9 brokers, 9 drivers. And, it went quite a few years until I decided to sell it. And I sold it at a profit, which is really, really good.
Yes.
And then
you were the solopreneur, like it was your business. You were the woman, it was your company.
It was my company. Absolutely. absolutely it was. And I, because of my maiden name being Holloway, I called it Holloway Couriers.
Yeah.
So the name kind of went really well with that. And after that, I thought I'd have a little bit more fun. And I opened up a hot dog cart. And so I was on the street corner selling hot dogs.
So you are a
And
streetwalker,
I was
kind
a
of,
street
sort of.
worker, kind of, sort of.
You were a street worker.
And that was
Kind of, sort
actually
of.
very, very successful as well. It was fun. It taught me a lot. And I always like to interact with people. And
Yeah.
because of the people skills that we learn, makes us, I suppose, kind of successful out there in speaking.
Yeah.
And
Good.
having a business.
Good. So, and you were doing all that like 30 years ago before it was a common thing for women to do that.
Absolutely. And of course, we were raising a family as well.
Yes.
And
yes.
then, as it went on, there was other things. I ended up being a stage mother. We'll talk about that later, maybe.
I just want to say hi to Lavinia. Lavinia is a friend of mine who I met working, but she's a friend and she lives here in Milton. And Lavinia has been dying to wait for this show. So this is for Lavinia. There you go. And I'm going to talk to my mom real quick and ask her about how you ended up being a female entrepreneur. Like, what was your experience going out into the workforce?
Well, do I explain how I did end up in the workforce?
So, well, I'll just briefly, just briefly that you were a stay-at-home mom and then you had to transition, because that actually could be a book. That's something that you and I are going to work on putting together, because seriously, if you liked Angela's Ashes, we would blow that out of the water, because that's a great story.
Well, my story is I had.
Oh, where'd she go?
Knew that I wanted them to have a good life, and I had really no skills because I married so young and was raising kids. So I went back to 30 years old. I went back to school.
With four children.
And my jobs before had not been office jobs, but I knew that's where the money was. So I went to school, and first day they gave me a paper to put in the typewriter, and I didn't know how to put it in. And I was with a lot of kids that were 17 and 18, but I enjoyed it, and I learned, and I got my first job with that, and it took me into the business world, and I was hooked.
Yes. So
That's
just so that you know, my mother started off doing secretarial work, and then very quickly she moved into bookkeeping, and then she went back to school and took bookkeeping. And I remember when I was a teenager growing up, my mom did taxes for people and she ran businesses for people as a controller. And I remember she had this part-time business, and I was like 16. And I remember the name of this business to this day. And I'm going to say it here because I thought it was like, here's the marketing brain of my mother working. And this was like, can I say it, Mom? Like maybe 40 years ago. This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
She had a business and she called it Your Place or Mine Bookkeeping. And I was mortified because she meant it as, oh, I could do the books in your office or I could bring the books home to me. But that is not at all what I thought the name meant.
Well, it was at that point, the world was opening up. There was a lot of things happening that we never would have done. People going out on a date and going home together. That was not in my role. But I thought, what can I do here to make it catchy? What can I do to make people look at it?
Yeah.
So I put bookkeeping, Your Place or no, I didn't say that. I said Your Place or Mine, and at the bottom, all the things that I did.
Yes,
and I got a lot of attention, a lot of laughs, and a lot of attention. And my work was very successful.
Yeah, but exactly.
I actually did books for when Diane opened her business. I actually set her up, and she went right off.
And then my mother's not going to tell you this, but I'm going to go quickly to it. Fast forward a few years later, and my mother started her own businesses. She owned a satellite business, and then she owned a heating and air conditioning business, fireplace business, as well as doing the bookkeeping from before. So my mother was working all the time. That's what I remember. My mom always ran her own show from the time I was like 16 or 17 years of age. You weren't really an employee. You were in charge of everything from that point on. Well, so now my bossiness comes to me naturally.
Well, how that happened was I was working in businesses for people that really I looked and thought, they're not very smart. These people, I could see things I told him, you better to do this or change that, and you'll double your profit. And then I thought, why am I doing this for other people? I need to go and do it for myself.
Yeah.
And I was afraid. I'd never owned my own business.
Yep.
I was lucky enough that one of the companies that I did books for, I became very close to the accountant, and we were good friends.
Yes.
And he would ask me to go out to some of his. I also did freelancing for him. He would send me to customers that were so messed up. They didn't
So
know
he
how
was
to get
like your
out.
mentor. So
He
you had
was for
somebody who you could look
the
up to.
accounting.
Right. So that's something that's really important
Yeah.
for all of us now that are in this entrepreneurial world. That one thing that they say to us is to try to find a mentor or somebody that you aspire to be, or somebody who can help you progress further. So that's a really good story for that. Okay. So now we're going to get into some fun stuff because everybody's waiting for the fun stuff. I have 6 people watching. I only know that it's Lavinia. Thank you. Lavinia says now she knows where Andrea gets her brilliance from my mother. No, I get that from me. I work hard for this. This is all just me.
No, you do.
Um,
You do.
Okay, so we're just going to do some of these fun questions, and we're just kind of going to hop in there, and then we'll come back and talk businessy stuff afterwards if we need to. All right, so what is, how about let's see. So I'm going to go with Diane and say, what bad habits of other people drive you crazy?
Oh,
You've been waiting for this one.
no, I do it all the time myself, and it's people repeating themselves. They
Yeah.
go over and over,
I do.
and I do it myself, and I catch myself, but that drives me nuts.
Okay, so Mom, let's see. If you could instantly learn another language, what would it be? If you could learn something.
French.
Really?
Well, because we're bilingual in this country.
Oh, yes. That's
And
true.
because it's a language that you can pick up other languages from it.
Yes. Very
Because
similar to
some of them
Spanish.
really sound, and I would really love to be fluent in French.
Well, you're
Yeah.
retired now. Why don't you take some classes and learn how to
Yeah.
speak French?
Or Italian, but my French would be my first one.
I would wish to be Italian. I love Italian.
I do.
The sound of it is just so lyrical. Like I love French too, but Italian just, it keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. And I love their food. So that's obvious because I have gained weight during the COVID, which I thought I was losing weight in the beginning. And now I'm going in the other direction. So yes, we discovered a little deli here in Milton, La Rose Bakery. And I just thought it was a deli. But when we went in there, they actually have ready-made pasta meals, which has become a thing now in our house. So I have to stop doing that shortly or else nothing's going to fit me anymore. So, alrighty, next question. Where are we going here? So if you could have one superpower, Diane, what would it be?
Well, it's a kind of a really serious one at the moment because I think it's in the poor light of everything, and that would be to stop the child sex trafficking rings. There's so many of them out
That's
there.
a superpower? So what would the superpower be? Hi, Deb. Deb Torres here.
The superpower would be able to stop that in
Okay.
its tracks, and also to end child labor. And so if I had that kind of superpower, I would go out there and snap them out of there. I would zap it all out of there. And that would be the superpower I would like to have to end
Okay.
that stuff. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Mom, I know that you were a bookkeeper and I know that you were like office manager and I know that you ran your own businesses. But what other profession would you have liked to have tried had you been given an opportunity to try it?
Politician.
Oh, yes, my mother.
I would love to be
Yes,
in a position where I could make changes because I see so many. I don't offend anybody, but I see some people who don't know what they're doing and they're running our countries and running our lives.
Yes.
And I look and think, you know what? I wish I had gone when I was younger because you can make a difference doing that.
Yes. Now, one thing I will always say, my mother always instilled in us, and I can remember, and I've done it with my kids too now, is that I always remember my mom made it a big deal to tell us to vote. In any election, whatever, if it's just a civil one, if it's like a provincial one, that the importance and the value of being able to have the opportunity to be able to vote in the first place. My mother came here from Canada when she was 17. And
Ireland.
she's here. Did I say? Yeah, from Ireland. And became a Canadian citizen. So my mother's really instilled that sense of duty. You know what I mean? And I've done that with my kids. When they went to go vote, I took pictures. We made it a big production. I wanted them to understand what it takes for citizens and countries in order to be able to have that right, and don't throw it away. You have to really be serious about that. So politics, yeah, I definitely could see that, but I'm yeah, don't do that now. Okay, so let's go here. I need something funny. So, okay, here's something, because you guys were telling me this the other day, and I'm just going to go right there, and you guys can jump in on it. What was the best Halloween costume you've ever had? And this goes out to both of you, or most memorable, shall I say?
Well, you go first, Diane. Or should I?
Well, you go first, Dorothy.
Okay. I decided that we were going to go as an entourage. And we had her husband and my husband, Diane, and another couple of friends of ours. So we said, what can we do? So I thought we can go as a doctor and a nurse and patients. So I worked at that time for a drug store company that made drugs, and they loaned me all the uniforms. So her husband, we wrapped him all up in bandages
Poor
and splints.
He was a mummy.
He was the patient that we worked on, and she was a nurse, and she was a doctor. She had a coat and stethoscope and everything there, and my husband was also, and they had a lunch pail for their case, and they had Smarties for the medicine,
For the medicine.
and they had a little medicine bottles filled with whiskey and a spoon. And then the other two people came and dressed, and I was a Dolly Parton nurse.
I was going to say.
And I was always small and petite, but I got a nurse's outfit, and I had white stockings, and I got a big blonde wig, and with a cap, and I put these size 40 boobs on me, and big high heels, and I came in with my stethoscope and with all my nursing, and we won a prize, and it was hilarious. People looked at us, but halfway through the night, our patient had too much medicine, and he started to unroll.
He was dressed up like a mummy. He was bandaged from the right around the head all the way down, almost to his feet. And so, yeah, when it was time at the end to say, okay, I need to edit this, and especially when he had to go to the bathroom, we tended to start having an issue. But
you kind of forgot about that when you were wrapping them up, right?
Absolutely.
We should have did a flap door.
But we had lots of fun.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. I'm trying to think. Okay, so if you were stranded on a desert island, this goes for both of you. What are the top 3 things you'd want to take with you? Oh, every time I do this show, my nose gets itchy. So I'm just going to cover these for a second. Oh my goodness. Oh, every single time. I don't understand. Whew. Alrighty, every single time. So what would be the top 3 things? Okay, Diane, you go first. What would you take with you on a desert island?
I'd like to have some fresh water, but
Oh, that's a good one.
I need to have my caffeine, so I'm going to have coffee. And I can't stand having my hair in a mess, so I'm going to say a hairbrush. That's all I need.
Really?
Well, might be a few other things like matches.
Those are the top 3. So you're on a desert island. There's no people around, but you got to have your hair looking on point.
Gotta have my hair right.
You know what? That makes sense, because
caffeine.
The first 3 shows that I ever did doing this little tea time thing, Diane was on every single time, and she was always asking about hair advice, and I was like, what's with the hair? But now I get the hair, so that's really critical.
Yeah, and caffeine. I gotta have my coffee, Yeah. Keep me going.
Alrighty. Good hair and good blood going. Okay, we got that. Okay, Mom, what would be the top 3 things you would take?
I would want a fire lighter. I would want a toolkit and a water purifier. I'm much
You're
more.
hardcore. I'm going with Mom. She's going to make it. You're not going to make it. Diane.
When
they find you, your
She
hair's
would have
going to
nice
look
hair,
so
though.
good.
That's why
She
we're
would have
friends.
nice hair.
We would hang out together. I could always know that she would have what's needed. She was the sensible one, and I'd take the other stuff. So that's why we're still friends. And so we would not be on a desert island by ourselves. We would be together.
I can see that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is something that I said at the very beginning. I had my very first guest that I said this question to, and everybody's doing this top 3 things of it. And to this day, I say it, and it cracks me up. I want a boat to get off the island. I'm not staying there. I mean, that's what I want. I want flares. I want flags. I want cell phone signal. I am not staying on a desert island. this hair is not cut out for humidity. It just does not work. I mean, it looks great, but if you put your hands in my hair, you could be there for a while. There's so much hairspray in my hair right now. So yeah, I do not want to do a desert island. No, thank you. No how. I'm not a big fish lady, so I don't think I'd last very long.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. So, all right, for both of you, did you get into trouble as a kid, and what was the worst thing you ever did?
Oh,
Oh,
my
look at
my
your face.
kids might be listening.
You're going first. Look at your face. You're going
You're
first.
going to use this against me, aren't you?
Yes, because I record all these shows. They're mine.
So who do you want to go first?
Oh, your eyes went like this when I said that, Diane. So you're going first. You're the hot seat.
Oh, you know, my kids are my kids listening? Can you see who's on?
Well, I only got Lavinia and Deb and Errol. There's a few other people, but they're not telling me who they are, so I have no idea.
Well, anyway, I don't know how old I was, but I don't know. It must have been a while. The matches, you could buy matches for 2 packs for 5 cents. And so me and a friend, a neighbor friend, decided we were going to go down to the corner store and buy some matches. So we did that, and we told the person that we needed the matches because our parents needed the matches.
Listening. Lorianne is Diane's daughter, by the way. Lori said, "Yep, I'm listening."
Because we told the gentleman that sold us the matches, because we were only kids. I don't know how old we were, probably about 8 or 9, maybe. And we told them we needed the matches for our parents. They needed to boil the kettle and light the fire. So
you lied.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you lied. This little one, but you lied.
I distorted the truth. Anyway, we took our matches and we walked down to the back of our house, down in a little trail in the woods, and decided to light a little fire. And we were too far away from the houses, and somebody saw smoke and called our parents and said, where's Diane? And I think it was a young boy that I was with, and we decided to write, just friends, and 9 years old. But these guys will lead you astray all the time. But anyway, off I went, and we lit this fire. And anyway, down comes Mom, down comes his parents, and I get whipped all the way up the trail. You don't use matches. You know you're not allowed to have matches. You know, of really, really little with what was those pussy willow branches?
Yeah.
You could pick down, and his mother was just taking him and saying, "You're not allowed to do that, David. You know you shouldn't do that."
And you're like, "I want to go.
What's going on with him? I want to be his. I want him to be my mother." Anyway, I never played with matches after that, and I made sure that any matches in our house were hid just in case it got inherited. That trait. No, so that's the worst thing that I remember that I ever did, and got caught and got called out for.
So I just want to do a quick sidebar there. So as you were saying that your mother was hitting you with this little switch, and she was talking and hitting you as like the whole entire way up.
Yeah.
I just want to say I got in all kinds of trouble. My mom had four kids. We always got in all kinds of trouble. But what my mother would do, and then Mom, I'll let you talk about your story, is when you got into trouble in our house, and my mom, like, she didn't beat you, but she would hit you because that's what you grew up with. And my kids got hit a little bit, but not beaten to death. I mean, that's not good. But my mom would get mad at you and you did something, and you wouldn't just get a, "Don't do that." "Don't you do that ever again, because if you ever do that again, I will." And I'm like, she's writing a book and she's beating you every single syllable. And I'm like, "Mom, you got to stop already. Like, enough is enough, But it would be like on your rear end or something. It wasn't anything crazy.
And I know if my daughter could speak right now, she would say, "You remember when you used to pull my hair when I brushed it? I'd be brushing your hair. It's long and it's tang." I said, "Stop it! Stop moving your head."
Yeah, I got that too, which is, probably why I don't wear anything in my hair anymore, because I had that too. So Lori says you still have matches. So I guess that's something that, all right, Mom, what's the worst thing you ever did as a kid? And what kind of trouble did you get into?
Just doing an update on that. They used to laugh at me and say, "You smack in syllables."
Yes, smack in syllables, exactly.
Well, the worst trouble I got into was in the summer, we had public baths and swimming pools, and we would all go off for the day. We had streets where we went together. So about 15 kids, we'd all be going to head off to the baths. And it was coming up to holidays, and my mother had bought me, I wanted red shoes, like Dorothy, and I wanted red shoes.
Oh, like the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy.
But not
the Wizard of
shiny,
Oz?
just red shoes. So I got these beautiful pair of red shoes with a buckle over them, and they were look like grown-up shoes with a little wedge.
Yeah.
And I was so thrilled up. So I was warned, don't you touch those shoes because they're for for the holidays. So I decided I was going with all my friends, and my mother was at my sister's. She just had a baby, so I thought I'm going to take my new shoes and wear my new shoes. So I went off.
So
with my
about how
lovely
old were you, do you think, when you did this?
About nine.
Oh, okay.
8 or 9. So I took my new shoes, put them on, and took my towel, and I'm trotting off, and everybody's admiring my shoes, and I felt like Cinderella. So we got to the baths, and I took my clothes off, I had my bathing suit on, took my shorts and top, put them there with my towel, and put my shoes. Boy, a great day, splashing, jumping, and everything. I come out to go get dressed, and somebody had taken one of my shoes. And I thought, why did they leave one? If they'd have taken 2, I understand. But they took one of my shoes, and it was a big panic. The guard who was doing he was an older man. Everybody was looking everywhere. Nobody found my shoe. So I had to go home
with one
shoe. And then I hid the shoe so she wouldn't know right away because I didn't have the courage then. And then my sister said, you're going to have to tell her because the holidays are coming, and when you get all dressed to go up, when parents would take us all out dressed up, when you're going out to be dressed up, you won't have any shoes. So I told her. And by that time, I was so terrified by that time, and it was so long, there wasn't any use, any use in her then. But she said, well, you're not getting another pair. So then I was devastated, and she said, no, they were too expensive. You were careless. You shouldn't have took them. You disobeyed me. So you're going in your old shoes. And they were old running shoes.
Oh, no.
So on the holiday, my family were dressed up, and I had my old dirty running shoes.
You know what? That might explain something, because the joke in our family is my mom, if anybody remembers Imelda Marcos way back when, she had closets and closets full of shoes, hundreds and hundreds of pairs of shoes. And my mother is a shoeaholic. I mean, the original OG shoeaholic. My mom must have, and I swear, Mom, even right now at home, you probably have at least 50 pairs of shoes, and I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not even exaggerating.
Maybe
between
40.
sandals and shoes and golfing and all your dress shoes.
Oh, yeah.
My mom has shoes. She's a shoeaholic. And you know what? You were traumatized from that shoe experience, and now that's probably why you have all those shoes.
Well, I don't have 50. I only
that.
have 48. I brought 2 pairs today.
You brought 2 pairs with you. And she comes in and she puts my shoes on when she walks in the door. I better make sure to get those back before you take them with you, because we're the same size. All righty. Okay, so here we go, best friends. If either one of you, so Diane and Mom, if you had to pick a tattoo for the other one, which tattoo would you choose that the other one gets? So Diane, you're choosing a tattoo for Mom, and Mom, you're choosing a tattoo for Diane. Which would you choose?
For me, I would choose for your mom because I know she loves this. I would choose a little butterfly because she always talks about butterfly, and she herself, coming over from Ireland at the age of 17, certainly came cocoon, and it wasn't very long before she became a butterfly. And now she's a big butterfly, but we're turning into moths, aren't we, Dorothy?
No, not at all.
Well,
but the butterfly it would be what I would pick for her.
Okay.
Well,
so
that's
Mom,
funny because my girlfriend, your Aunt Betty, who was my other and Betty was our best friend, and she passed away. And we used to go places, and we laughed so much. But Betty gave me a pin, and it's a butterfly.
Yeah.
And I said to her, well, what she says, I bought it because it reminds me of you. A bumblebee. It was a bumblebee.
Oh.
And I said, well, what about a bumblebee reminds you of me? She said, well, when the bumblebee, people started breathing, their body's so big that they aerodynamically they should not be able to fly.
That's true.
But nobody told the bumblebee that.
That's right.
And that's what she said.
Exactly. That is so you, Mom, because nobody told you can't. So you just assume you always can. That is true. That is true. That's a very good lesson. So what tattoo would you give to Diane then? What would you make her get?
Probably a bumblebee.
A bumblebee. So see? Oh, that's so sweet. You guys
With
are
both
so
of our
There you
names
go.
on it.
Okay, you gotta make me cry now. I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that at all. You guys make me cry. Okay, that's not good. Okay. Oh well. I just want to tell you one funny story that they're talking about my Aunt Betty who passed away. And it was these three were always doing stuff together with my Aunt Betty. And I remember one time, oh gosh, this is 20 years ago probably. The three of you went out to California to visit my brother Brian. And I get this phone call, and I didn't have a cell phone, so it was at my house. I think I was home with Zachary. I can't remember. And I get this crazy phone call, and it's laughing, and the phone keeps getting dropped. And I'm like, what's going on? And I'm thinking there's something wrong. No, it's my mother, and it's Diane, and it's my Aunt Betty, and they're in California, and they just were in a parade, or they crashed a parade or saw a parade down the street or something. And they're laughing and giggling because they're trying to cram all three of them into a phone booth to tell me how they crashed this parade, and then they went down to the water and the waves came in and were getting them wet. And I think was it Betty who got like completely soaked or something in the waves? They were giggling like a bunch of 15-year-olds.
Diane was worse because she was the shortest one. And
So
we
the story
rolled up our
is
clothes, yeah.
that these are all grandmothers who are going out there to visit my brother, and they're all giggling in this phone booth, and they're all trying to talk to me, and they keep dropping the phone and they keep talking over each other. And I'm like, what are you guys on drugs? What are you guys smoking? No, we're just all having fun like they're 16 years of age. So I always say that my mom now being retired, she's like a teenager with money. I'm like, I want to retire like my mom. She golfs and they go on trips and they go to Florida. I'm like, I want to, retire like that. That is, you two are who I aspire to be when it's my turn to go.
Well, when we spend it all, we can come live with you.
Yeah, I need a much bigger house. I need a much bigger house. And we definitely need some more bathrooms because you're not getting mine. It's the first time I had my own bathroom, so yeah, I'm not getting mine. Alrighty, so let's just do something. If you have to sing karaoke, my mother sings all the time. My mom's got a beautiful voice. What song would you pick if you had to sing karaoke? If somebody just made you guapo, what song would you choose to sing?
It had to be you. And that's because on my first date with the first boyfriend I fell in love with, and on my first date, he asked me to dance, and he sang that to me all the way around. And that was a favorite song.
Yeah.
And it's an old song, but
Yes.
that's a song that, brings
Means
good
something.
memories. Yes.
Okay, Diane, what would be your song to sing karaoke?
Well, first of all, you would never want me to sing karaoke because that happened one time and people all left the room and never asked me to ever do it again. But if there was a song that I could sing, it would be by the Beatles, and it would be I Saw Her Standing There. She was just 17.
Oh.
That was a song.
Yeah.
That was a song that was sang on the night I met my husband, Adrian. And, I went to a certain place with, I think it was a Wiener roast we went to on the beach. You'd have Wiener roasts, you'd have your bonfire. Being from Newfoundland, that was all allowed outside bonfires. And then we had music and there was dancing. And he was giving me the eye. And it was this song, come on, I saw her standing there. She was just 17. I saw her standing. So, and he sang that and we danced to that, and it's history. 53 years later, we've been married for 53 years, and that was even 3 years before we got married. So, we've been together for 57 years. Yeah.
Yes, 57 years. And you guys are so cute together. You guys are really, really so cute together. Julie, my cousin Julie Smith Given's mom, Julie's on right now, and she's listening to us right now, all the way from, well, Julie's not in Belfast. Julie's in England, I think, right?
Yes, she's in
Julie
England.
lives in England. Yeah, so she's watching right now too. Okay, good. Okay, so because you've been married for all this time, Diane. Hi, Julie.
Yeah.
Because Diane, you've been married all this time to the same gentleman, and you guys are really cute together. What advice would you give to young couples? I have something you told me when I was at my baby shower, but I want to hear what you say.
I don't really remember. At your baby shower, I probably told you the best gift you could give your child is to love his father.
Yes,
father,
that's
right?
exactly it. Yes.
Would have, because that's where the security comes in. But as a marriage and how to stick together, I kind of wrote this down because it's really dear to my heart, and it's really what I mean, and it's really the way I live my life and the way we live it together. First of all, you got to make God the center of your lives. help bring out the best qualities in each other.
Yeah.
And in the mate, and never ever put your mate down in front of anybody else.
No.
And don't
No.
contradict your spouse in front of your children, and
Yes.
keep the doors of communication open.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
that would be what I would tell any couple. It's so important to always build each other up in front of everybody, and as well, if you see a quality in them, try to bring that out of them, which my
Yeah.
husband has done for me for years. He has
Yes.
backed me, things
Yep.
that I never thought I could ever do,
That's
that
true.
I've accomplished because he has told me, you can do this, Diane. And
Yep.
he has supported me so much in that.
Even today, I mean, my husband, I'm fortunate that he's working from home now during this whole COVID thing, but we spent yesterday afternoon setting up 3 different studio spots in my house because I knew that Mom and Diane had to come here today to do the show. And he was helping us all this afternoon do everything and helping me pick up the equipment. He helps me set up the camera. He's my IT support, but he is enjoying this just as much as I am. And he knows how important this is for me and for my career and for what I want to do. And I seriously could not be anywhere. I'm going to get emotional. I could not be anywhere doing anything that I wanted to do if I didn't have that kind of a man in my back corner. And I think all of us successful women that are out here in the entrepreneurial world, that's what we have. We have really good friendships and we have, parents and mentors. But if you don't have a good partner with you every step of the way, you won't get anywhere. You just won't get anywhere. You have to have that person on board with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Enough being sappy. All right. So let's go see.
Well,
Let's give one for Mom.
So was that I didn't do that.
No,
one.
I'm going to give you a different one. I'm going to give you a different one. So let's go with what's the one important skill thing, Mom, you think everybody should have?
One skill set that everyone should have?
Yes.
I think the one everybody should have is to try and educate yourself. Don't stop where the school stopped. Try to keep on going. Do things that are going to give you a step into another world. If I had not stepped out, I would have probably been still sitting, being somebody's secretary and filing for the rest of my life. Go take night class. You don't have to be with your life around business, but take a couple of classes. Learn how to be elocution. Learn how to express yourself properly, because you don't know who you're going to have to get up and talk and speak in front of.
Yes.
And just be aware of, you're not going to get to the top of the mountain if you stop climbing.
Yeah.
Just,
That's a Dorothyism, Lavinia.
Yeah.
Lavinia likes the other one about men are always buses. There's always another one coming. That was another Dorothyism.
Well, that was
that's a Dorothyism.
That's when Andrea was going through a patch where her and had a boyfriend, and they were young, and they split up, and she was.
I was engaged. That's how bad it was.
She was engaged. And I'm so glad that you disengaged.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it all worked out in the end, but at the time, it's pretty hard.
At the time, she was pretty brokenhearted, and I told her, Andrea, dry your eyes. Men are like buses. There's always one coming. And you're going to get one that's going to take you in a whole better direction than that bus would have took you. So.
Yeah. No, I like this bus so much better. This bus is like the GO train. I like this bus so much better. This is definitely an upgrade.
Exactly.
It's like the Via Rail, with your own private suite. I like this bus much better.
Don't waste, if a man hurts you and can't be bothered to think about your feelings, you don't want to tie yourself to that.
No.
You want to. And I didn't get that advice because I married very young.
Yeah.
And
but I think that was just the time in your culture. I mean, you were born, just before.
No, I had to get married.
The Second World War.
I immigrated. No, I didn't have to get married in that sense.
No.
My boyfriend came to Canada, and he was nearly 5 years older than me, and I was 17, and he wanted me to come to Canada. He had aunts, he had family here. And they told my mother that we'll look after her, she comes. And I said, I was delighted. I was brokenhearted. When you're young and you're we write love letters.
My mom
she's
being kind. My mom is stubborn. When she wants what she wants, she wants what she wants.
Well, I didn't start out that way, but when I wanted to come to Canada, I found out that if I was 17, I was underage and I had to be married within 4 weeks.
Yes.
And that was because after the war, a lot of American men and people brought girls to the country and then found out they were married and or left them, and the
Yeah.
government had to look after them. So
Yeah.
they were they you had to be 18. The only way you couldn't be 18 was to get somebody to claim you, which his aunt did, and that was why I got married so young.
I can't
And
imagine. My
but I never
daughter is
regret it.
turning 19.
Yeah,
Like Emma's turning 19 next month. And I mean, I can't imagine 2 years ago sending her away to a whole new country with, I mean, I probably would have known the boyfriend's family and stuff, but to send her away at that age, or even now, if she was to leave and to go somewhere to another country and go get married and do something, I mean, I'd be devastated. I don't think I could let her do it. I don't think I could let her do it.
but
It's
don't
just, it's a
forget,
different time now.
my family weren't sending me away. I was bent and determined that I was going.
Yes.
I
yes, you
wanted to
were.
go to Canada and I wanted to
Yes.
be with my boyfriend and to get married. And I lost about 12 pounds because I wasn't eating and I was crying. And my mom said, okay, go. But remember, if you're unhappy, you phone us and we'll have you a
You can
ticket
always
right
come
away.
home.
If it's not what you want, but, I'm here and I stayed.
You did, yeah. Yeah, I remember my mom always said, go out there, go do what you want, go try things, go figure out stuff in the world. And if it doesn't work out and you ever get stuck, you can always come home. So that was really good advice, that we always knew that if we wanted to be brave enough to step out of our comfort zone, we knew that we always had a place to come back to. Yeah. And now she doesn't. So now you can always come home to my house. That's what so now she comes home. Now she comes here.
It's retribution.
It's payback. Payback's a bitch, right? It's payback.
Mhm.
Okay, so here's something that I think would be all of us should have. I think all women, especially mothers, we should all have this. We should all have a personal assistant. And if they could follow us around all day, what would be the one task that we would give them that we wouldn't have to do anymore? Go
Me?
ahead, Diane. What would that be? Diane first.
Go ahead.
Me first?
ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I would like a driver, a personal driver to
Okay.
drive, because a pet peeve of mine is I cannot stand trying to find parking spots and parking places. I just want you to let me off, let me go into my meeting, let me go to wherever I need to go and be there when I come out. Let me phone you and say, I'm out the door in 2 minutes and I need you there.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I would want a personal driver.
All
And
right.
that's what
So,
I
Mom,
thought
who would
do.
you want as your personal assistant? What would they have to do every day for you that you don't want to do anymore?
Everything I told them to.
No questions asked.
No
Yeah.
questions. Because it could be different things on different days. And if you're my personal assistant, when I tell you, this is what I need from you today, I would expect you to do it, or you wouldn't be my assistant for very long.
So if anybody's watching and anybody who knows me, now this explains a whole lot, right? Now you understand a whole lot more about me.
And if our Julie's watching, she's just like me.
Yes, she is. Oh my goodness. Okay, so my personal assistant, to be totally honest, I'm done with cooking. I am so done with cooking. I have had to cook dinners since I've been 13 in grade 7. I had to be home every day at 4:30 and have dinner on the table at 5:30 and have tea in the kettle. And I am so done with cooking and being home raising kids. And this one doesn't like this and this one doesn't like that. I am just done with the whole food. I want either it brought to my door, or I want somebody to be here and cook all for me, because I am just so done with cooking. I'll make my tea. I like my tea, but I don't want to cook anymore at all for the rest of my life. I am over that. Just over
But
that.
then again, all of you, my daughter and my 3 sons, all know how to cook,
Yes,
all
we
know how
do.
to put a beautiful meal on the table. You
Yes,
may
we
not
do.
have liked it then, but that was another skill set that you
That's
had.
true. That's
So
true. And
they
both
all
my
could
kids
feed
can cook.
themselves.
Yeah, and both my kids can cook, and they can cook really well, because I
And
did the
I was
same.
working. I
Yeah.
didn't get home till 6 o'clock.
Yep.
So on the weekend, I would prepare 3 or 4 different things. I'd make spaghetti sauce. I'd make meatloaves. I'd make whatever dish and I would put them in the freezer. And then I would leave them a note. When you get home from school, Andrea, you set the table. Glenn, you peel the potatoes. You do, but whatever that had. So when I got home,
Except my brothers would bugger off and not show up, and I'd have to do it all. So that's my pet peeve, is my brothers
and,
dump me
and
with
I would
everything.
tell them, when you get home, take the meatloaf out or take the thing, put it in the oven on low. Don't go near the oven after that. Just put it in and turn it on to 350. And by the time I got home, everything
But
was
I was doing a bit
ready.
more than that, Mom, because I remember when
Yeah.
I was taking home ec in grade 7 and then grade 8. I think it might have been grade 8. So I was like 14, I guess, at that point. And we in home ec, we had to make this dinner, and it was a big deal because it was like the thing at the end of the class at the end of the year. You've been doing all kinds of little things, cooking in the
Yeah.
home ec department. And then I had to take sewing, which I was very bad at because I broke all the machines. As I wanted to be downstairs in the woodworking shop building stuff, but I wasn't allowed to because I was a girl. I had to take home ec. But we had to cook. And I remember that we had to do this big dinner. We had to take chicken and we had to roast. We had to cook it in the pan. We had to cut onions up and cook it all with this butter sauce. And we had to peel potatoes and make mashed potatoes. And I was like, I do this at home. Why do I have to do this here? I know how to do this already. So
A lot of people don't, though.
but it's true. So I would bribe the girls to sew for me when the teacher would leave the room, and I would go and I would show them how to do the cooking, and then I would run back to the sewing machine when the teacher came back because I was like, I do this already. So yeah, I'm done with cooking. But it is a skill. That's a skill I think that everybody should know how to do is to cook, because a lot of people don't do that nowadays.
To learn how to feed yourself. When you
Yeah.
go to university, when you go and move out on your own, and you
Because
sit
ice
and
cream and
your own
popcorn
kids,
are not dinner.
they
no
might
matter
be
what
okay
anybody
for a
says.
week, but you're going to get awful sick of them.
Yeah, ice cream
And you can't
popcorn are
afford
not
it when you're at school.
dinner. No. All right. So Diane, what is the favorite sound or noise do you love the most?
I just love when I'm outside and I can hear the running water from a brook or a little ditch or a little river in the woods. I guess, again, being from Newfoundland and spending a lot of time outside, it's just such a nice, calming, beautiful sound, and
Yes.
the smells and everything that come with that. I really love that.
Okay, Mom, what is your favorite
Um,
sound or noise that you love?
It doesn't have to be like a thing I do. The one thing that makes me happy, makes me laugh, when babies laughing. When babies are laughing, everybody's laughing.
Yes.
And then when they laugh and they have that hearty first, they laugh and you don't know what they're laughing about. And you're laughing when, that's something that I think is a happy, happy thing. And you look at a little
Yes.
baby just,
It's infectious.
Yes.
It's infectious. It's
Yes.
infectious. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, Mom, what's one of the most interesting things that we don't know about you?
Oh, there's a couple, but I don't know.
Is this a G-rated show? Do I want to know this?
Yeah,
Maybe I
no.
don't want to know this. Maybe this is something that maybe I don't want to know this.
Well, like you've already told them, the first business was a satellite business, which I opened for my son because he didn't want to go to university, and he ended up missing time and not coming, and I fired him. And it was good because the other guys.
She's hard. She's a hard mom.
Well, would he get away with that on any job?
Nope.
If he would,
this is where this comes with me. This is what I told my kids. Yeah,
and then they said when the other guys they all said, well, we know not to get in any trouble. She fired her son. And I fired him because you need to do something to learn to support yourself. You have an opportunity here. This was going to be your business, and you're not coming showing up for work. So you're going to learn from me that if you do that in the next business, you're going to get fired.
Because, I think parents that don't let their kids fall or fail are actually doing their children a disservice, because you can't be there all the time to protect your kids.
No.
I always told my kids that the only people that think you're actually amazing on the planet are just your dad and I, because we made you. But everybody else is going to go out there. You're going to have to prove who you are. You're going to have to set yourself out from the crowd. You have what makes you so special, what makes you different. You're going to have to go out there and prove yourself. And
I got to tell you more.
A young age.
The satellite business, I had one store in Newmarket, which I was in, and I decided to open a second store in Orangeville, because at that time a lot of people didn't have power when we were and satellite dishes were very popular.
So this is the one thing that we don't know about.
So can I tell them, Diane? This is about
okay. This is just a story. I heard this story the other day, and Diane said no, she can't tell it, but obviously my mom wants to tell it.
So Diane was working in the other store, and as you can see, Diane is very religious, and her whole life. So she called me. She was working one night from 6 to 9, and she called me, and I said, she's in a panic. She's in a panic, and I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "Oh," she said, when I turned on, she said,
Diane,
when I turned on,
okay.
When I turned on the satellite, when I came in tonight, we always had one going for the customers to show them.
Satellite
And
TV.
she said, when I went in, I put it on, and it was this terrible channel. And I thought, well, what was it? She says it was men and women, doing things. She wouldn't. And I started to laugh. Obviously, one of the men who worked for me must have been watching it because they had the store to themselves. When they left, they forgot to put it back on Disneyland, which is where we always ended it up. And I said, well, why didn't you just switch it off? She said, well, I sort of had to see what they were doing. And I killed myself laughing. She said, and her watching them was, oh my God, oh, this is awful. It's terrible.
Okay, so Mom said a funny story about. Okay, so now Diane, you get to say a funny story about Mom.
Oh my goodness, I can't. That you're getting me off guard here because I don't really know any.
Diane, going out in the waves.
No,
we already talked about the waves and where she, kind of went under the waves and things like that. We kind of have a lot of funny stories, but to think one right off of my head, I can't really now. So no, I'm gonna skip on that one.
Okay, so
Newfoundland.
Oh my gosh, her getting screeched in. Do you want to get
that's funny.
That was so funny. She laughed so hard because the guy that was screeching her in was really funny. It was a nephew of my husband's, Adrian's nephew. And in Newfoundland, if you're come from away, when you go there to visit, you get screeched in. But that was a lot of fun. But after that was over, or sometime on that trip, we decided that we were going to go, was it clam digging?
We went down to Vermont to dig clams and mussels.
The great big, So we had these great big rubber boots on. Dorothy had a glass of wine, and she might have given me one too. And she's throwing
you under the bus, Mom. She's throwing you under the bus now.
She might have forced me to drink it the same way she did to make me.
She might have. It's the same way she forced you to go for ice cream the other day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Diane. All right.
So we're down. So we're down there, and all these waves are coming in, and we're trying to maneuver on these rocks that are so slippery. We're in the salt water, big boots on, and the next thing, both of us flat down in the water, soaking wet, getting no clams, and just laughing our heads off, trying to how are we going to get out of this mess. And anyway,
your brother-in-law came down and helped us.
Yeah,
it wasn't deep; it was shallow. But we're sitting and we couldn't stand up because these boots were full of water. And your son-in-law came and helped us.
Okay.
Absolutely. It was fun and laughter.
I got another one for you. If you could start a rumor about yourself, what would it be?
Me? Oh, that I'm a wonderful singer.
Good one. Yeah, that definitely would be a rumor.
It would be a rumor.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's good. Okay, so Marcus HL is on, Diane, so you can wave to him because he's watching.
Who?
Marcus?
Oh, Marcus.
HL.
Hi, Marcus. Yeah.
Okay. He says this is like, he says, you're all beautiful bees and butterflies. This is like talking at Mom's hair shop.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is.
And Julie's laughing, going, haha, definitely. Lavinia is saying, Andrea, your mom is so wise. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Lavinia.
Not all the time.
Lavinia, how much is she paying you is what I want to know. Okay. All right. So let's see what else here. I got something. Okay. So, Mom, if you could start a rumor about yourself, what would it be?
Don't get her mad or don't ever lie to her. Because if
that's
you
not
lie
a rumor.
to her,
that's not a rumor. That's a threat. Because that's not that's true. That's true.
A rumor?
A rumor. Something that's not true, but it's a rumor. Okay, I'll give you one. I've said it before.
She does.
That I'm tall.
That's what I was going to say. If I take my shoes off, they know I'm lying.
Okay.
I was tall. I'm growing down.
You are. You are. Because you used to be taller than me, but then I'm starting to shrink now too. Okay, we can almost be done. We've been on for almost an hour. We can stop now. We can keep going. It's totally up to you what you want to do. We can do a little bit longer. I'm kind of running out of questions. I'm just going to go back to, you know what, we're going to be done. I'm going to ask the one question of both of you, the last question, because you have been women in business and you both have daughters that have done businesses and sons and stuff like that. So I'm just going to say, if you could give one piece of advice for somebody like me, all of us that are here in that are doing what I'm doing in my networking groups, and all of us women that are trying to make it and be our own bosses, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give a woman as an entrepreneur going through this process? So I'll let Diane go first. What would be the one piece of advice that you would give?
I think the main thing in business is your honesty and your integrity. That
Mm-hmm.
you really need to be who you are, and what you say is truth. If you promise something to a customer, or you need to follow through on that. You need to make sure that that's just that you're going to do what you said you were going to do, and that they will trust you, that they would be able to gain that trust on you, and be yourself and believe whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you can do it.
Good, good. Okay,
Yeah.
Mom, what advice would you give to female entrepreneurs? I mean, I've heard it all before, but what else would you what would you give to somebody who's a woman who's trying to start her own thing and be her own boss?
Never be afraid to challenge people. When I started, when my business first, very few women were in business.
Yes.
And I was working for a company, decided I can do it better, but I need to have a bank loan to start me. And I went to the bank manager and I told him what I wanted to do. And he said, well, your husband will have to come and sign. And I said, well, he's not going to be in the business. Why do I have to have my husband come and sign?
Right.
I've already established credit. I've ran companies for other people, and I'm going to do something that I know I can do. So why would you do that? And he said, well, that's just the way it is. So I said, thank you. And I walked out of that bank, and I had my accounts in that bank. And I walked down the street to the other bank, which was a Scotia Bank. And I went in, and there was a lady manager. And I said to her, I've just came from the bank up the street, and I would like to borrow $10,000, and I can put my car, I can give security, but I have an
You
excellent,
had all that stuff ready to go.
yeah, all extra credit. So, and I said, well, and she said, well, how much did you want? And I said, I think I need about $10,000 to give me comfort and, to pay my rent and to pay my bills, and then I can generate sales. And she said, okay, when are you starting? And I looked at her and I said, I just came from the bank that told me I needed my husband to sign, and I resent that. And she said, well, he'd no business doing that. That was when Women's Lib was coming. And she said, life has changed, business has changed, and I'll certainly, and she gave me the loan,
Yeah.
and which I had some money of my own, but and I owned a business across the road from her, and I changed all my business to her.
Yeah.
That was my first. If I hadn't challenged that and told, and I did go back, and I went back and told him, I just came back to tell you I went down the street and got my loan, and I come back to tell you that I would not like to work for you.
Yes.
It's time that you realize that women are not chattels.
Yes. Yes.
And I walked out.
So I have a business coach in one of my groups, and a business coach, and one of the favorite sayings that goes around is that growth. You have to step out of your comfort zone. If you don't step out of your comfort zone, you're not going to grow. You're not going to learn. You're not going to be successful. You're not going to progress to the next level. So you need to be, one of my favorite things that I tell people is to be adaptable, but really you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because if you don't get good with that thought process, you're going to get stuck, and you're going to be stuck in a hole or stuck in a box that somebody else is going to put you in. And if you allow yourself to stay there, it's nobody else's fault but your own. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in order to move forward. Especially,
and that all has to have faith in yourself. And again, that I'm not in the same categories then, but I do speak to God and always have. And I say, anything goes wrong, oh my God, please help me. And I did say, if this is right for me, then put it in my path. Help me. I will help myself, but please give me the energy, give me, and and you're sometimes a bit timid when you start out. You're a bit embarrassed, stressed. Don't ever be embarrassed asking for it. If they say no, you go to the next one.
Yeah.
Just don't stop trying.
And one of the other things too, as ladies that get together, Dorothy and I have always shared best practices together. So after she went and got her loan, I started my courier company. So she said, Diane, you can get a loan on your own. And they did the same thing to me. And sure enough, I went out and got my $10,000 loan without my husband having to sign it. Even today, people say, how did you do that? I said, I have a friend that shows me best practices, and we share those best practices
And
amongst
that's
each
what
other.
I do. That's what we
And
do with all of our networking
exactly,
members.
and encourage one another,
Yeah.
and be there. And I think that's what's really important with ladies being in business together.
Yep. Yep. There's
And
another really great quote that I like. It's something about embracing the success of someone else doesn't damper your own. Like it doesn't.
yes,
Like women should support each other. Like fix each other's crown. Don't bother knocking it off their head.
yes,
All those kind of things.
yes.
Because I didn't really experience that when I was a teenager, and I didn't experience that in my early 20s and my 30s when I was working in the workforce then. But since I've gone back to wanting to be my own boss and being down here where I live now, down in the Halton area, there's so much more networking down here. But it's not just networking, it's business training and it's support and it's like-minded women who don't compete with each other anymore. That's what you do when you're
No.
little. You
Yeah.
actually are each other's, support system, and you're each other's cheerleaders. And we want to promote everybody. If I succeed, everybody who's with me,
Yeah.
we all succeed together. So
And
why would I cut
and
my,
if whatever your business is, if you've got enough people in business, they all you're not the one with all the good ideas. You
Right.
might have some, but then you're talking to somebody and they say, "Well, you know what? I did this. I think that's a great idea. It's better than I
do
am.
that.
Who's your contact?
Yeah.
Who should I call
Yeah.
there?" And
Exactly.
so you've honored her. You've done something good for yourself, and you've got another
Yeah.
supplier that you can do. And
Awesome.
when you get three people you're dealing and they're all doing the same thing, they're going to drop and give you a better price. If you're a good person and you're dealing with them and giving them business, they will give you a discount so that they will, trust you because you trusted them.
Yeah. My mom was
Yeah.
in sales, you can tell.
Jail,
Sales.
Sales,
I'm not in
sales,
sales.
yeah.
sales, and
Service,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And
Okay.
and if you light somebody's candle, you don't lose any of the light of your own.
That's right.
It's still bright. And another thing, if you have employees, praise them. You will get the most out of your employees when you encourage them and praise them. Don't be telling them what they're doing wrong. Tell them what they're doing right.
I remember when I first started working at Glamour Shots, and I was the boss then. I was the manager, and I have a staff of 25 people. And I remember Mom telling me something, and you told me this, and you said the same thing about employees, but you said you praise in public and you criticize in private.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with your staff. And I was like, yeah, but that always goes back to, partners like your husband and the person that you're with, because you just said, don't criticize your husband in front of your children. You have to be a united front. So the same thing is praise and promote and encourage in front of who your audience is. And then if you have a disagreement, you handle that quietly behind closed doors. Okay. So
and
I'm going to
also the benefit to having women around you that do this is that whenever you're having a hard time, they become your friend. They'll listen. You phone up and say, "I don't know what I'm going to do,"
Yeah. Yeah.
and they'll listen. It's good to have friends in business.
Okay, so I'm going to say we've been over for over an hour. I'm going to say thank you, ladies. Everybody's still here. We're going to go now. Thank you for being patient with us when we had our difficulties in the beginning. I am so thrilled and honored that my mom and Diane were here to do this with me. It was amazing. And who knows where this will go. I mean, if you need more of them, I can always hook you up because I know how to do that. And yeah, we might do this later on with some other technology and, see where this goes. But thank you, ladies, for coming. It's been wonderful. I'm going to say goodbye. So just say goodbye to everybody, and we're going to end this broadcast.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Julie.